Hello book friends, what's up? How's it going? Thanks for stopping by for today's video. I had to pull out the lights today because it's snowing. It's April and it's snowing where I am. Macy is settled in. I have a ton of videos to film today. If you're new here, thanks so much for stopping by. I would love to have you consider subscribing and join us all here regularly. I do normal videos like this, review videos, and then I sprinkle in some other fun booktube stuff. Definitely look down below at the playlist and the different videos that I've done. I apologize if I cough once in a while. I am on the other end of having COVID, but I have the fatigue and this lasting cough, so I apologize if you might see me cough once in a while. I'll try to edit those out the best that I can, but if you see like a funny moment like that, you know what it is. In any case, in all honesty, I was a little nervous to read this book, but I trust the author 100%. The book we're going to talk about today is The Last Chorus by Nikki Ashton. I've read a few of Nikki's books. She generally writes rom-coms. That's not all she writes, but one of the things I love about her humor, and something that you'll see when you look her up, is that she has so many amazing rom-coms. I've not been able to read all her books, but I've read several. She's my go-to rom-com author right now. I have yet to find somebody else who makes me laugh the way she does in her books. That doesn't mean I don't laugh in other books, and that doesn't mean I don't have other authors I love that are funny, but there's something really special about Nikki's humor. I, of course, loved her Dayton Valley series. I've got videos on 3. Is there 3 of those books right now? So I'm familiar with her work, and this is a complete and utter departure from that. The book is called The Last Chorus. Did I say that already? I knew it was going to be a tearjerker because she talked about it. So I was a little nervous to read it. I love a deep, meaningful, real story. You guys know I talk about that all the time. I know you guys feel the same, but also there's something to be said for when you know it's going to be like a heavy, serious tearjerker and you knowingly read the book. The Last Chorus is about Bo. He is a rock star. For some reason right now, I'm blanking on what he played in his band, but his bandmates, we hear from each of them in the book. When the book starts, it's the 1-year anniversary of Bo's wife and son's death. Okay, so, right? It's like I needed to pause for a second because, pardon me, see, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, sorry. I didn't want to read the death of Bo's wife and child. Like, that's just so close to home for me. You know, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. So I was nervous, but so I was kind of glad when we started the book and it's the 1-year anniversary. Here's the deal though. If you guys have experienced loss in your lives, you know how raw you still are at 1 year. And then to be able to put myself in Bo's position as a character who has lost his soulmate and their child, like, hi, I can't even like think about that. You know what I mean? So, and the way she writes it, you guys, it is an open wound bleeding and festering in his life. I just felt for him so deeply. Nikki writes his grief. I mean, even now, like she just kind of killed it. And that was a bad choice of words. Okay, no, let me go back. She did a really good job writing his grief. It was very tangible. I sat in there with him and it was a lot. I am not gonna lie. She takes you there with his grief. So it's the 1-year anniversary and he has cut everyone off in his life. he cannot make any semblance of a move forward. He is completely surrounded, enveloped, engulfed, whatever the words are, in his grief. And he doesn't see a way beyond it and doesn't really care, quite frankly. He's cut everyone off. His bandmates, who are his closest friends, his mom, his sister, he's cut everyone off. And no matter how hard they've tried to, his friends and his family can't reach him. One day, he's sitting downstairs in his chair, looking out into his backyard, out his window, and he sees a football, which I assume, because Nikki is English, to me would be a soccer ball, come through like the hedging between his neighbor, come through and roll into his yard. And he sees this cute little kid come over, a little boy, come over, pick up his football, and then go back. And you're like, oh God, can you imagine? I read this book right when it's coming up to my mom's anniversary of her death. And there's what I held on to and what Nikki gave us. Oh, and I'm going to get emotional. Is the signs that your loved ones are still with you. And when that little boy cruised into his yard, oh my God, did I feel that right along with Bo. That little boy is named Ethan. He lives next door with his mom, Simone. It's just the two of them. There is a little bit more to that story, but it's just the two of them that live in the house. And I absolutely freaking adored Ethan. How could you not? And his mom, Simone, she's a little bit younger than Bo. She is a full-time mom. She does work, but she works from home. And you couldn't help but love her too. Her sweetness and the way she was with Ethan, it was just lovely. And I loved how Nikki wrote her and him. In the part I'm going to share with you, Elliot, who's one of Bo's bandmates, has come over trying to reach him again. And they're having a moment, and all of a sudden, here comes the ball again. And so this is the interaction between Elliot and Bo. All I'm saying is having something else to concentrate has helped me. It hasn't made the pain or me missing them go away, but it has eased it. I've had something else to think about. He turned to look through the window. There's a football in your garden. It was like being on a roller coaster, the way my stomach dropped. I felt my pulse speed up and little beads of sweat form on my forehead as I wondered why I felt sideswiped by a football on my lawn. There's these moments just like that sprinkled all the way through the book. Moments where Bo is hit with his grief like that. And we've all had those moments that gut punch you. I loved that Nikki made us feel those moments, but I also hated it because I understood and it made me sad and my heart was so broken for him. We know something is going on with Simone. Nikki gives us the Easter eggs. Ethan, her son, is just this little ray of sunshine. In the book, he just is the sweetest little thing. He was the relief I found I needed in a lot of places in this book. And because you feel everything that Bo is going through, and we know what is going behind the scenes with Simone and what she's dealing with, and then there's the sweet Ethan. Ethan himself has, I don't want to say challenges, but he's got a little something extra about him that makes him a little extra special. And I thought that really spoke to Ethan as a character in this book. And how he held up, how do I explain this? How him as a character was like the foundation for this book for me. What he, as this sweet little 5-year-old boy, did for everyone around him was really beautiful. And he doesn't even know it, but he's like ethereal, you guys. He's just this scrumptious soul. And I loved every single little bit we got about him. This is one of those gut punch moments and also like the sweetest thing in the world. And it showed how affected Bo is by Ethan just being around. So they have a little hiccup. Simone and Ethan have a little hiccup at their house. And Bo's mom invites them to spend the night there because she doesn't have any power. Her power went out. And it's getting to be bedtime. It's from Bo's perspective. He nodded again, and I held up my hand. Shuffling to the edge of the sofa, he dropped his feet to the floor and stood up. A tiny hand crept into mine, and when I felt the warm, soft skin of his pudgy little fingers, I had to hold my breath to stop me from crying out in pain. "Oh, you're awake," Ma said, and crouched in front of Ethan. "Bo will take you up to bed, and your mom will be here soon, okay?" Ethan nodded again as I gently pulled him away and into the hallway. As we reached the bottom stair, he yawned again, and even though my heart was cracking and my soul blistering with pain, I picked him up. Fighting to keep my breath steady, when two arms went around my neck, I felt my knees buckle and had to reach out a hand for the banister. Then a tiny voice spoke. "Thank you for helping my mummy, Mr. Bradley. You're very kind." It was then I thought I might die from my grief. Oh, see what I mean? She just punches us in the gut all the time. Oh, so many moments like that just had me like this all the way through the book. The humor that I've come to love and know from Nikki is infused in so many ways in this book. And that's what made this book feel so real to me. She balances the grief so freaking well in these real life moments where you could be just like in your grief and then somebody says something that shouldn't be funny, but it is. So then you laugh. It was awesome. So I had a couple questions, and I'm hoping that my British friends can answer this. What is a full English breakfast? At one point, Simone is making Bo, his mom, his sister, and Ethan a full English breakfast. Tell me what that entails. And then also on the flip side, after dinner, she said Bo's mom had cooked dinner and somebody asked what she made for pudding. I'm assuming that pudding is like our dessert. So let me know. I want to hear from you guys. Bo and Ethan strike up a friendship of sorts. The writing is on the wall. And here's one of those moments, and I was like, oh God. Oh God. Like, I don't know if I can read it. It was very tender, and it's from Bo's perspective. Ethan was a great kid, didn't speak much, but after they'd stayed that night, we got into a routine of him coming around most days. It was only for an hour, but he was loving me teaching him. Bo was teaching him how to play guitar. Okay, so we'd only done the intro to the Seven Nation Army, but I tried to do some more chords with him, and it wasn't happening. Ethan had tiny little hands, and doing chords meant I had to help him. And well, putting an arm around him and moving my fingers over the top of his was starting to make my chest burn. So strumming was as far as we could go. It kept my mind occupied though, and distracted me from the shit in my life, mainly my ma trying to get me to interact with people. See, there's one of those funny moments. And then a little bit later on, they're all at the house for dinner. The bandmates, his mom, his sister, Simone, Ethan, and this is from Bo's perspective again. Then Ethan saw me, and his grin grew bigger as he waved at me. Even though we were only a couple of feet away from each other, my lungs felt like a balloon that had the air let out. Oxygen rushed out raggedly, and the tension in my shoulders disappeared. And a little bit later, he then reached for my hand and smiled. When tiny fingers wrapped around three of my large, callous ones, I heard Ronnie draw in a breath. I looked over at him and saw that his eyes were shining. "Ronnie," I warned. Shit, he hissed. "I'm sorry, it's just, Ronnie, don't." I cleared my throat and looked down at Ethan. "Let's go and get something to eat." Ethan nodded and pulled on my hand to lead me to where everyone else was waiting to study me and decide how much of a head case I still was. Even though it was Bo and Ethan who started a friendship, so to speak, there's something really special about Simone and her interactions that he witnesses with Ethan, and how they start having conversations and spending a little time together. and he realizes his head might not be underwater anymore. And I was a little worried about how Nikki was going to handle this. I wanted the relationship that I thought was developing between Simone and Bo to have the right pace. Normally, I'm not that particular about stuff like that in a book, but there was something so organic, the way Nikki was writing this story. I felt like I needed that part because after all, you guys, it's a romance, right? I know he's going to have a relationship with somebody else. I know there's going to be a happily ever after. And I so hoped that Nikki got it right. And this is one of those moments that showed me she sure the heck did. And I should mention, it is dual perspective. We do get chapters from Simone. We get to know Simone really well. The moment we separated, my first thought had been, I love my wife. What the F am I doing? My second thought had been, I love my wife, but she isn't coming back. But this beautiful woman in front of me is here. She's real and she's alive and she's made me feel alive. Of course, I felt like Simone and Ethan were heaven sent. How could you not feel that way? And as someone who believes in stuff like that, I really do believe that people are put in our paths for a reason. And when you read a book like this, which is so true to life, of course I felt like Cassie and Bobby sent Simone and Ethan to Bo. I'm the type of person that believes in stuff like that. So whether it's in a book or in my life, I believe in stuff like that. It was really beautiful, as heart-wrenching as it was. And although it felt so freaking bittersweet, how could it not, right? We do get a happily ever after at the end of this book. Oh my gosh, you guys, this book. Whew. Like, Nikki blew me away. It's so freaking good. Let me know if you have read The Last Chorus or any of Nikki's other books. I would love to hear. As always, I welcome you to come say hello to me on my social media, which is Kat Reads Romance on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.